that. But when people go home at night, they're watching HBO, they're watching motion pictures, they're seeing national commercials. That's their yardstick to measure your work against. And so people say, well, sure, if I had that budget, if I had that new camera, that would do it. That would fix everything. So everybody wants the newest, latest electronic gizmo, but the way I was taught a long time ago now is it doesn't matter. I'll shoot on VHS. I really don't care. The lens is much more important to me than what we're recording onto. It doesn't. Often I don't even know. I walk away from a job, I don't even remember what we shot on. But what I want to know is glass. What lens do I have? Because that's really important. And then the second thing is where is it going? Where is it heading? Is this going to end up on the web? Is it going to end up, on a DVD? Are you showing this on a billboard-sized projection screen? Those are the big questions I ask. But it really doesn't matter to me what you're recording on, what media it could be stills. It doesn't matter. But the idea is breaking down light into a way that makes sense to you, because people get into a panic mode. They turn on a light and they see a lot of it, and so the immediate reaction is back up. So they pull everything back, and that evens up the light around the room, and they go, there, that must be better. So there's a lot of knee-jerk reactions that people do because they don't know. And then what Dean used to say is a do as I do method. So what happens is you follow someone, you shadow someone that knows what they're doing, and they set up lights, and you take mental notes, and you maybe ask questions, maybe you don't. And you just keep watching, going, the client seems happy, so if I put lights like that, that must work. And so what happens is that people end up going out on the shoot by their own, or that person gets sick, and then you're the next person in line to shoot. You go out, you think, okay, this is a talking head, he put a light here, he put another thing there, and they go from memory, and they put it back and go, there, that must be great. And the producer or director might say, that's fine, but what I'm going for is a night look. And so I need it to feel like evening. I'm going to have some candles in the back, or I want this to feel like morning. And I need a slice of sun coming in the window. And then you see the eyes of the kid get really big because he doesn't even understand why this looks like it does, let alone how to get to evening or morning. So the idea is, let's break this down today. Let's make some fundamental ideas very, very clear. And then from there, the idea is, don't copy what I do. Everybody has a different approach. There's no right or wrong in this business. If your client is happy, you're right. If you got paid, you're right. So that part I know. The idea is, let's break this down so you can then imagine something and say, you know what? I have a cool idea and I know how to get there. So here's the idea behind three-dimensional contrast. That is a two-dimensional screen. That's a bust of Shakespeare that I painted purple, and it's obviously just a black and white image right now. But the idea is that I've taken a three-dimensional object, a face, and you're looking at it on a two-dimensional plane. That has width, it has height, it has no depth. But yet, because of shadow and highlight, you can see depth. You perceive depth. So the whole idea of this, it says, artists of all types are constantly working to create three-dimensional images on a two-dimensional plane, like a motion picture screen, a television screen, a piece of paper. That's a 2D plane. Says the following information will help you to better identify and manipulate the separate components of reflected light. The reason I wrote that the way it is because there's incident light and reflected light. This is an incident light meter. You guys have probably seen these before. I always tell people, just get one and your day rate goes up because it looks cool. And people just, if you do this and then go, people go, well, I don't know, he looks like he knows what he's doing. So the idea here is that this represents a face, basically, a three-dimensional object. And if you set it to incident light is all the electromagnetic energy, the light coming in that's in this area, buzzing around me. So it's saying if you hit the button, it says set it at X, let's say F4. It's saying if you set your camera at F4, black will look black, white will look white, gray would look gray, everything in between should land. You'll get basically a proper exposure. That's what an incident meter does. What I have done for many years, just because I usually start these in the morning and it's kind of fun, is I work with pastries, and these are not fabulous pastries. These are just average pastries. This is a 300-watt Arri Fresnel lens light. This is just a standard hard light, and we're going to fire up an image here. You guys see what I'm seeing? That's nasty. Let's turn off house lights, please. We're just going straight production lights now. This, I'm always just get a kick out of this. That's just fantastic, isn't it? That's awesome. So here's the idea here. Yeah, that's just bad. This is what we call bad video. And I get a kick out of making bad video. It's fun because I don't get to do it when I'm getting paid, so it's really fun to do this. So I've got a hard light right here from the front, and these are those when you go into a bad Asian takeout place. This is how they light those pictures right there. Here's hard edge shadows. Tells you hard light, and all the shadows are falling away from the camera. So that flattens everything out, and you're not seeing texture here. We certainly are not getting a mood. And here's the specular highlights, and this is the old school engineering I was talking about. And I'll bring this all back to lighting people when we at the end of this segment. So what an engineer will do, look at their waveform, and they'll see those highlights right there, and they'll go, okay, right there, that looks great. And so all they want to just keep things under 100%. So then the producer says, I don't think so, or the camera op, and they go, look, I put white in here on the corner for reference, and so we'll hold that. So there you go. Now it looks good, and we'll check skin tone. Yeah, so that looks great. No. So what you try to do is get the right kind of light source, and the position of the source make a big difference. So for one thing, I've got barn doors on the front here, and I'm just going to bring them down on the top of the frame, just to get a little bit of a horizon up at the very top of the frame. And what that does, because I have a white background, is that knocking that down and giving a horizon. Now we have a sense of depth, and also it forces your eye to the product. You need to lead the viewer's eye, and the eye is going to go to the brightest, best lit area in the frame where it's going to find movement or the human form. So we want to lead their eye down here. So that's better than it was, but it's still not great. So I'm going to move this light around, and I'll do my very best to keep this out of your guys' eyes all day long. This is what I was just referring to, a 3/4 back position. So I'm going to put this here, and a whole bunch of things are going to change the moment I do this. It got dramatic, for one. So now there's my highlights. I still don't have the same problems there. The shadows are falling down toward camera now. But look, I've got some texture happening. So that's good. I'm going to open up exposure a little bit, see how far we can push this. There's looks like about an accurate exposure. We'll check skin tone. It's not terrific light, but at least we've got some drama now. We have some interest going on here. And I was talking earlier about incident light, and I'm going to swing these doors just a hint this way. Now, I've invented some products, and I love inventing things. I wish I would have come up with this thing. I don't use these on jobs, but man, I just think this is the coolest. These are called light domes, whatever. That I should have come up with. That's cool. That's a great idea. The problem with these for me on a shoot is that they're too flexible. They're all over the place, and if it's outside and windy and you see it going on, it just drives me nuts. So I use bigger, more concrete pieces. But look at how much of this incident light hanging in here. Look how much I can bring back in. So that's incident light. It's light energy just hanging, just dying for you to use it. It's just sitting there. But we can't. So now we bring a bounce card in, and suddenly that got better. That's not terrible now. Our background went dark, and that is one of the key elements here. And that's what I was talking about, that massage shot. And so now I've got something that looks reasonably close to a dark background. So now I can light that independently if I want. And I've got some control going here. And again, this is your mood control. How you fill your shadows is your visual mood control of a piece.